Welcome to GovCon Clarity with Dr. Lori Smith, where strategies replace guesswork and readiness replace wishful thinking. With over 4 decades inside government systems, Dr. Lori breaks down what agencies actually evaluate: capacity, compliance, and credibility. If you're ready to compete at the federal level, not just apply, this is where clarity begins.
If you've been with me through 7 episodes, you've built a lot. You understand the readiness gap. You've assessed your 3 pillars. You've got a governance framework. You're thinking in terms of operating systems. You got a bid, no bid discipline. And if you're like most founders at this point, man, you are also feeling something that might surprise you, overwhelmed. Not because you don't know what to do, but because you can see so many things that need doing all at once. And that feeling that I can see all the gaps and I don't know which one to tackle first feeling is exactly why you need a readiness pathway. So today, I'm going to show you how to build one. Welcome to GovCon Clarity with Dr. Lori Smith. I'm the CEO and founder of Archaeologist LLC and the founder of Sonar Seas Empowerment. This episode 9, and this is the strategic planning episode of the series. Everything we built is about to get organized. So here's what I see happen all the time. A founder goes through the process like this: a podcast, a workshop, or a consultant engagement. They gain tremendous clarity about their gaps. And then they try to close all of them simultaneously. New policies this week, new project management tool next week, pipeline strategy the week after, proposal templates, financial system upgrade, team training, website overhaul, and within about 3 weeks, nothing's actually done. Everything's half started, and they feel worse than they did before they started. Sound familiar? Because that's not a discipline problem. That's a prioritization problem, and it's solvable. The solution is a readiness pathway, a phased plan that tells you which lane to focus on, in what order, for how long, so that you're making real progress instead of spinning. So in episode 6, I introduced the readiness lanes. Let me refresh them quickly because they're the backbone of your pathway. So in lane 1, that's your foundational readiness. This is your operations, your financial hygiene, your documentation practices, your baseline governance, your core delivery process. If you don't have these basics stabilized, nothing else holds. You can't build a pipeline on a shaky foundation. You can't sustain a contract without systems. So this lane is about making sure the engine runs before you push the accelerator. In lane 2, capital and contract readiness, this is your federal positioning, certifications, compliance posture, pipeline strategy, proposal capability, past performance development, and teaming relationships. This is where archaeologists' work lives most directly. But in this lane only works if lane 1 is reasonably stable. So chasing contracts without a foundation is how businesses get into trouble. In lane 3, that's sustainability and leadership readiness. This is you, your capacity, your boundaries, your support system, and your relationship with rest and recovery. Now, this lane is supported by Sonar Seas Empowerment. And it matters because everything in lane 1 and 2 depends on a leader who can sustain the demands of building them. Now, here's the question: which lane do you work on first? The answer comes from your self-assessment, the one we did in episode 3. So look at your lowest pillar score. That tells you your starting lane. If operational readiness was your lowest score, start in lane 1. Your first 90-day cycle should focus on documenting your core delivery process, establishing project tracking, and building your weekly rhythm. If governance was lowest, you're also in lane 1, but with a governance emphasis, working through the 4-layer bill from episode 4. Now, if emotional and leadership capacity was lowest, start in lane 3. That might mean joining a peer group, establishing a practice, getting a rest practice, getting a coach, honestly evaluating whether you need to reduce your commitments before you add new ones. Once your starting lane is established, you choose a secondary lane. The secondary lane gets about 30% of your focus. Now, it's the lane you're positioning for, not sprinting in. So if your primary lane one, foundational readiness, your secondary lane might be lane two, doing light pipeline research and relationship building while you stabilize your operations. Or if your primary lane is lane three, sustainability, your secondary lane might be lane one, doing small governance improvements while you focus on not burning out. Now, a good enough plan that you actually follow is infinitely better than a perfect plan you never start. So the key is the 90-day cycle. Every 90 days, you reassess. Where did you make progress? What shifted? Does your primary lane need to change? This prevents the two biggest mistakes in readiness building: trying to do everything at once and staying in one lane too long because it's feel comfortable. So let me walk you through what a realistic 12-month pathway might look for you for two different founders. Now, founder A is a solo consultant, 3 years in business with solid technical skills, some commercial clients, interested in federal work, but hasn't pursued it yet. Her self-assessment shows strong operations, weak governance, and moderate capacity. Her pathway, months 1 through 3, primary lane is foundational readiness with governance emphasis. Build the 4 governance layers, establish documentation habits. Her secondary lane is sustainability. Set up a peer group and protect a weekly rest practice. Months 4 through 6, primary shifts to capital and contract readiness, SAM registrations, NATES research, capability statement development, and first industry events. The secondary stays in foundational, refining the operating system. Months 7 through 9, continuing in lane 2, beginning subcontracting outreach, teaming conversations, and first proposal review. And months 10 through 12, deepening lane 2, possibly first bid, while cycling back to lane 1 for systems refinement based on what she's learned. Founder B is a veteran-owned firm, 5 people, 1 active federal subcontract, growing but chaotic. Self-assessment shows moderate operations, weak capacity, and moderate governance. Her pathway, months 1 through 3, the primary lane is sustainability because the team is overworked and the founder is the bottleneck for everything. Focus on delegation planning, reducing founder dependency, and establishing support structures. The secondary is foundational, beginning to document the delivery process that the team already follows informally. Months 4 through 6, that primary shifts to foundational readiness, building the operating system, role clarity, weekly rhythms, and documentation standards. The secondary shifts to lane 2, strengthening the subcontract performance and beginning past performance. Documentation. In months 7 through 12, the primary is capital and contract readiness, pursuing the first prime contract opportunity from a position of genuine strength rather than desperation. So do you see the difference? Neither pathway is the same, but both are honest about where the founder actually is, and both are designed to build progress rather than scatter activity. And I want to name something from the last episode. As Chanel said in our conversation, the strongest businesses aren't the ones chasing funding. They're the ones prepared to deliver and manage it. A readiness pathway is exactly that preparation mapped across time. It's the difference between wanting the opportunity and then being positioned to hold it when it actually arrives. So building a readiness pathway on your own is possible, but it's faster and more sustainable when you have someone who can see your blind spots, a peer, an advisor, a strategist who has walked founders through this before. So the pathway isn't just a planning tool, it's a commitment tool. It tells you what you're going to focus on and, just as importantly, what you're going to let wait. And that discipline, the discipline to let something wait so you can do the important thing well, is one of the hardest and most valuable things a founder can learn. So here's your action from this episode. I want you to build your 12-month readiness pathway this week. Use the readiness pathway worksheet in the show notes. It walks you through selecting your primary and secondary lanes, defining your first 90-day cycle, and setting, one measurable milestone for each of the first 3 months. Don't overthink it. A good enough plan that you actually follow is infinitely better than a perfect plan you never start. So if you want help designing your pathway, schedule a clarity assessment at Archaeologist. We'll use your self-assessment data, your governance audit, and your capacity, honestly, to build a pathway that fits. And if the sustainability lane is your starting point, explore what Sowing Our Seeds empowerment offers. The retreats, the circles and leadership restoration experiences designed for founders who need to refuel, before they can rebuild. So in our next episode, we're going to talk about metrics, not the vanity metrics, that look good on social media, the readiness metrics that actually tell you whether your business is getting stronger or just getting busier. Revenue is the number everyone watches, but it's not the number that tells you whether you're ready. I'll show you what it does. This is GovCon Clarity. Readiness protects what ambition pursues. So build what holds the opportunity and what holds you. Bye for now.